race fans, Ryan Aho here, the one and only Bert Lehman, and winner, chicken dinner, Victory Lane visitor this weekend, Coach Kraus. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, like you said, finally at a park when I finally took care of my bad point average, thanks to the Wissota point average program with all my 3 consecutive DNFs, and finally capitalized on my front row starting spot.
Remember when you used to be fast every night and hated that deal, and now you're like fast once a month and it's pretty cool?
Right, yeah, exactly. Hey, I want to start up here all the time. It's not like starting 7th or 8th every week.
Right. Hey, so Bert, everything kind of rained out in your neck of the woods, didn't it? Did you go anywhere?
I did not go anywhere racing, no.
So you got to watch some hashtag balls. We'll talk about that shortly.
Yep.
Episode 188. We're inching closer to 200. Of course, brought to you by our friends over at Zeuli's Race Engine. And, of course, the Dirt Race Central Street Stock Tour, they finished it up here this past weekend. Who won? Justin Vogel, 2nd straight year. Zeuli's Race Engine underneath the hood, right? So you win races, you win championships, got to have a good, dependable piece. They have that. So part of a winning team, if you can't beat them, join them. Speaking of that, if you're an experienced machinist, they're looking for those to join the team as well, because when you build that much power, you build that many winning engines, you need more manpower at the shop. So they're looking. So check them out, Zeuli's Race Engines. So Jeff Kraus parked it in Victory Lane. What's that, number 2 or number 3? That's number 2 on the year, right?
That's number 2, yes.
Number 2, number 3 coming soon. What else happened over at the High Flying Half Mile this past weekend? I know I might have been history made. There might have been history made. I'm guessing there probably was in the street stocks. Talk about that.
Yeah, it was our Hall of Fame night, and great turnout for the John Steppen clan and the Jeff Wildung clan. Obviously, had a pretty decent crowd and a lot of followers there. And we had a first-time Midwest Mod winner too, John Carlson. His dad, Tom Carlson, is in the Viking Speedway Hall of Fame. He's one of our tech guys, and he got his first career win. And then 3 weeks in a row, a first-time winner in the street stock class. And JJ Newberta came home with a win. Last week was Brad Lawrence. Roger Burkus was the week before that. So pretty cool to see 3 new winners there. And then, myself and then Brady Gertis, I won the Super Stocks, and Brady Gertis got the Midwest Mod. And Nick Hiles got his back-to-back winner in the short trackers. They were both 3 wide the whole race. It was a great short tracker race, and I had a great battle with Trevor Sauer, and Brady Gertis had a great battle with Travis Sauer. So all in all, it was a good night. And like I said, I finally had to put the One to Go show. I don't know if you saw the picture. We had the One to Go show sticker right in front and center in Victory Lane.
Yeah, that's what makes that car look so dang good, right? Obviously, either that or it's a Target. See, you talk about the tech guy. See, Bert, I don't know. He learned this from being a coach, right? So he learned how to suck up, right? He's giving some love to the tech guy's kid. Probably going to be safe now this week, right? Not going to get picked on. Very smart move. Drivers, take notes of that, right? We're all picking on tech guys. I don't race. I can do that. If you're a racer, you can't pick on tech guys. You'll have a target on your back. So well played. You also probably shouldn't let everybody know that dad's or that kid's dad is the tech guy, because we want people to actually like that guy. All right, so there is that. People don't like tech guys, so you can't be doing that. So let's, Bert, we're going to jump into Eastern Wisconsin a little bit down the road. Got a question on that, but
before we go any further, I mean, you used to drive, and Jeff is driving right now. A driver from Eastern Wisconsin posted a in-car video today of him racing at the Berg last night. And one thing I noticed is, well, first of all, how many hands do you use when you race?
I use 2. I know doesn't Timmy Johnson and Vogel use 1?
I know Vogel uses 1. I don't know if Timmy did. I use 2. I know Vogel does for sure. He's got his one hand always up on the deck there. He's always driving this left-handed.
Because watching this in-car video, I noticed he had his hand, where that little guard comes around the front. He had his hand resting on there, and he's racing with one hand. So I replied to him. I said, "Do you always race with one hand?" He goes, "Yes, sir." And then other drivers were chiming in, stating they race with one hand, and I was amazed by that. I guess I just assumed everybody used two hands when they raced.
Well, people saw me and Kraus race in the super stock division with two hands. They don't want us using one. All right, there is that. I'm guessing RTJ had two hands on the wheel at Falls too. He was. I don't think you can bring it like that with one hand. I would have a hard time believing there's a one-handed late model driver out there, but maybe. Yeah, I'm going to say I don't.
This was a sport mod, and one of the other drivers was a modified driver. Well, then I sent them another. I did another reply, and I said, "Well, you should probably tuck that hand inside the cockpit though, so it doesn't get hit by a rock." And then he said, "Well, I don't know. It just feels comfortable up there." So I was just amazed by that.
Right? You remember Vogel actually? He was leading the feature, I think, last year at Grand Forks. Had to pull off because he drives with one hand, and somehow he got his glove or some shit like caught in his seatbelt or something, and he basically about went off the track. Do you remember that?
I do remember that a little bit. I know. I remember Crow talking about that. He talks about that all the time. So yeah, if you're gonna drive with one hand, you better make sure you keep that one safe and sound.
Yeah, I'm thinking there might be something to that. So let's jump into a little hot laps, hot takes, brought to you by our friend Brad Parson, Brad Parson Soil and Egg Solutions. A little shout out there. You know, he wanted to let people know they have a lot of different products, a lot of different things out there. And they also have foliar fertilizers, nutrient stabilizers, and surfactants. And last year, they had 12 to 17 bushel increases in 2022 using their foliar at tasseling. So I don't know a lot about farming, but I do know this. The right chemicals in the right amounts, mixed properly, applied properly is going to give you better results. Give Brad a call, 320-219-3542. So I had a question Bert, this had to have been 4 weeks ago. One of the promoters out there said, how come there's fans, they go to these big shows, they go to the World of Outlaw Sprints and the World of Outlaw Late Models, and they just don't support our tracks on a weekly basis, right? And I kind of thought about that, and I'm like, yeah, if we want racing to continue, got to support them small tracks. I get it. But the fact is, it's entertainment. I went to #Falls. I went to Fairbury this weekend, my first trip there. Second trip, first one rained out. Went to the Prairie Dirt Classic. Bert, I'm here to tell you that if every single weekly show was like that event, there would never be empty grandstands. I mean, it just is what it is. So the answer to that person's question was every single night has to be an event. It can't just be, oh, we're going to have some racing. Okay, no, it's got to be from the minute you get in to the minute you leave. As a fan, you need to be entertained. So, Bert, you're a diehard race fan. You've been going for years. You love it. Jeff and I are both racers at heart. I'm not racing anymore. I have a hard time going and just sitting for 3, 4, 5 hours just simply watching racing. I got a short attention span. I need to be entertained. Man, I'm telling you what. Fairbury was – we talked about Fairbury a lot over the last couple of years. In person, it did not disappoint. I'll let you guys kind of start out because I was there. I guarantee I have a few different perspectives. But I guess, Crow, let's start with you. You watch Falls. What stuck out to you this week at the Prairie Dirt Classic in Fairbury, Illinois?
Oh boy, that's a pretty broad question there. There was, the racing, the Falls draw, the great field of mods that was there. The crowd's gonna be good. I think the main thing there, it's flat out the racing. I mean, yes, they do. The fans are awesome. All the stuff they do, but when the crowd's on their feet for the amount of that feature that there was, and they're getting into it, and then you got the locals that are fast right now. Pierce is fast right now. You got your Shepherd fans, and your Bab and your Shirleys and all those local guys. Then you throw in RTJ and all those guys. I just thought the racing makes the show out there, especially at that show. But no, you are right with events. You got to make sure it's event, whether it's a kids' night or whatever you're doing. at the local bases. But I think after watching the majority of that Fairbury stuff, you cannot beat just flat out action in the racing at that track.
100%. Bert, I know you watched Fairbury. You were home all weekend, kicked back on the sofa there, cuddled up with your dog. What's stuck out to you from #Falls?
Well, I was actually a little surprised by how many cautions there were in the modified portion of the program. It just seemed like there was cautions, a lot of more cautions than I thought there was going to be. But definitely, I agree with Jeff. I mean, when I've never been to Falls, but I've watched it. I've watched the streams, and it's the racing that takes place at that track that I look forward to, and I think probably most of the fans look forward to, because there's usually a low groove and a high groove, and sometimes there's a middle groove, and sometimes there's groove. They make grooves that really aren't grooves, and it's just fun watching all that.
Speaking of the modifieds, I echo your sentiment there. I'm telling you what, they played for keeps, right? They're the Wissota guys, right? Tracks are typically drier side, right? Sometimes a little grip, but usually drier. A little bit of contact in our neck of the woods in the mods, and people, all hell breaks loose. Everybody wants to fight. They literally are bonsaiing each other lap after lap after lap. I mean, literally, you think it was an enduro out there. So I wasn't sure if maybe they didn't get the memo. So Bert, you did tear-offs, didn't you, for MJ?
Yes.
If the track's muddy, is it okay to just put on one and then just hope for the best?
Well, if the track was muddy, I would always ask MJ. I said, "Do you want extra tear-offs on?" So then he would tell me if he wanted extra. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how other drivers do it, but we'd always cut one of the sides off. We'd actually duct tape the bottom layer onto the visor. So if he did run out of tear-offs and he had to wipe, it wouldn't actually scratch the visor. The bottom tear-off would stay on the visor.
I'm glad you brought up duct tape, because I feel like in the modifieds down there at Falls, one of two things happened. They duct taped straight over their visors, right? So they couldn't see, or they only put on one tear-off. Because you're right. I mean, it was caution after caution after caution. And I mean, cars were literally destroyed. It reminded me of the B mods, the first 4 or 5 years that B mods were a thing, where they were just completely destroying shit every single lap. That's what it reminded me of. And I'm not talking, it was just the field fillers. There's some freaking good race car drivers that are fast that were just wrecking, right? And there was a guy, I don't remember his name, number 88. He had the track provisional. He's in the freaking B main on Saturday, and everybody in the crowd is like pointing this guy up the track. He got caught up in 3 wrecks. There wasn't a panel left on this car that was straight. It's like, what is he thinking? So you're right. The modifieds were definitely carnage. But I noticed a few things, right? First thing I noticed getting into town is community buy-in. This is a unique deal, right? The track is literally tucked back in a corner of town. There's houses all the way around it. There's no room for expansion. I mean, it is a tight little corner. In fact, it's such a small area that the parking lot, right, where they park for regular night racing, that was camping area and handicap only. So to park there as a fan, you had to park on the street where some houses had no parking signs, but many houses, Bert, and you mentioned this was like Lambeau, they had, like, you could park in their yards for $10, $15, $20, whatever, and it was literally from one end of town to the other. I mean, it was golf carts everywhere. I mean, there were signs, checkered flags. It kind of reminded me of old school going to the Red Clay Classic in Ashland. Welcome race fans, like on literally half the buildings coming into town. I mean, it was crazy. And then you pack that many people into a small little confined place. Guys, this ain't like the USA National. This ain't like Cedar, which got a huge deal. It's tiny. You got a whole lot of people in a small little place. The vendors, the announcers. I mean, everything was great. And the one thing about that racetrack, guys, water. She wasn't blowing dust in race 1. That wasn't happening. She wasn't blowing dust at the end of the night. They water the racetrack. It stayed good, got a little choppy, but there was moisture in it. Fast, high octane racing. Vocal crowd, electric. I'm a Pierce guy. I like Bobby Pierce. Kind of reminds me of me, right? He's faster than I was, but I still like the guy. But the fact is, you want to hear a fan base? He kind of reminds me of a modern day Scott Bloomquist in the fact that everybody's got an opinion on Bobby Pierce. You're either cheering the heck out of him or booing him like crazy. Kraus, remember Dan Zeeson at Viking? There wasn't a guy there that got more boos than him, was there? Maybe you, but
no, it was, well, it's everybody hates winter, like Dale Earnhardt said, right? So I don't care what they're doing, just as long as they're making noise.
Yeah, and they booed like crazy. So let's get to the race, right? So the race, I mean, the mod race, quite honestly, so Mike Harrison won, right? I mean, he's a stud. He's got 8 UMP national titles. Ethan Dotson should have won that in the Longhorn 00 Arpin's car. He got the lead, guys, and just literally flat jumped the cushion, drove into the fence in the back straightaway, and I think he buckled something in the right front because she was low the rest of the race. But Harrison got that one done. Late models, Bobby Pierce got up to the lead early. Looked like he was probably just on cruise control, right? He was super patient, rolling the bottom, staying off the cushion. But behind him, the first half of the race, behind them, there's a battle between Gustin and RTJ. And every time that they'd get to him in lap traffic, bam, the yellow would come out. You'd have clean air again. Well, when the 50 lap to go mark hit, RTJ hit the gas. And before that, sitting there watching him, he was trying high, middle, diamonding, low. He was moving around the racetrack, super, super strategic on what he was doing. And when it got to the halfway mark, it's like he literally found another gear, like lady driver. We're going to go ahead and shift it and go a hell of a lot faster. Gets the lead, and the crowd went nuts. When he passed Bobby Pierce, they went bonkers. Then with about 25 to go roughly, he's coming out of turn 4, and the car shuts off. Just for a brief moment, broke a crank trigger on the ignition. Car shuts off. He got it going right away again. Slow down a little bit, right? Got it going, falls back to second. Pierce passes him. Yellow comes out. Guys, I want your thoughts on that yellow. Was it necessary? Did they need to throw a yellow?
I didn't think at the time. We were watching it in the trailer with a bunch of people at the races in Viking. I didn't think there should have been a yellow. He wasn't driver's side to the field. I know that's a rule if someone's spinning sitting driver's side, which is a great rule. But he kind of killed and he kept going there and took back off and then that blend rule came into place. I don't think anybody knew what that rule meant with the because technically that they had to go back a lap and he was still leading. So technically he would have been in first. So the blend rule is either where you blend in or +5. So that's why he restarted 6th, because he had to take the +5 because he was in the lead. So the blend rule came into play. So, but overall, I didn't think there shouldn't have been a yellow there. They should have kept that going.
Oh, the crowd was mad. I don't know who was more mad, the crowd or maybe the guy that had RTJ in the falls draw. He's probably at that point ready to kill somebody, right? We didn't get picked. We didn't even get picked. I think Chris Steppen was announcing the mods. I'm pretty sure that he was there when they pulled our name and he threw it away. Not sure. Probably talking too much smack on the show. Probably sorry. My bad. Donkey award. Boy, RTJ was pissed. Any official that would listen on the inside, he was jawing on him and he blazed his tires and you could tell. I mean, you and I both have raced, Kraus, and when you're hot behind the wheel, like it's like you're ready to just snap. And they put him back in 6th. The place is booing and their arms are in the air. Like, what the hell just happened? I'm telling you, I never seen anything like it because he absolutely put on a clinic. And I don't even think his tires, any of them, I think he was all 4 off the ground when he took the lead. And that place erupted.
You said that about halfway through that he put it into another gear. Well, I think once that race restarted with 20 to go, he put it in a 3rd gear. Because he was on a mission after they restarted that race, and there were some laps it looked like he was doing the Ross Chastain video game moves where he would just drive it in up on the berm, let the car hit the wall, and just drive off the wall. I mean, he was definitely on a mission.
Yeah, he got out of the car. They had a wheelbarrow there for his balls. He literally had to kind of cart him around like that. I mean, we're used to Bobby Pierce banging the boards, right? And he just simply did not. RTJ was on a mission. And I'm going to jump ahead. We got a fan feedback question. I'm going to ask you guys this question. So Pierce was, I mean, have you guys ever seen Pierce that conservative, rolling the bottom, not really in kill mode on the top, smart race? If he wasn't in a points battle trying to win the World of Outlaw points, does he have a little something for RTJ? Does he win that race? That question came from Tony.
Well, I don't know if he wins that race, but I think he definitely would have challenged RTJ more than what he did. But I mean, he even said in his interview after the race that, you know, he was looking at the big picture, you know, going for the World of Outlaw points. And so that takes some of his aggressiveness away.
Yeah, I think he's lying. I don't. You're going to get to that race, and you're Bobby Pierce at Fairbury. I don't care what you're leading at the time. He's going to win the race. That's just my personal opinion. It's a 100-lap race. Another guy I thought that Brandon Shepard was laying in the weeds at the beginning of that race too. I'm sure you saw that, Ryan, but we were all watching him, and all of a sudden he started creeping forward, and I thought he was going to be a little bit more at the end. I think Huddy, you know, I picked Huddy to win. I thought he kind of burned his stuff up a little bit. And the other flip side is, that cushion, that high side, that's as rough as that has been up on the high side the last few years at that place. It was treacherous up there. So I think that had something to do with it too. But I don't think Bobby Pierce with the point deal there. I think he said that just to kind of tide things over just because he didn't win. But it'd be a different story. He'd been sitting in victory lane.
Oh, yeah.
I think I got to agree. I got to agree with Kraus there because I think RTJ was just that much faster. And he has been. He has been for a while, right? This is no surprise to anybody. But, and speaking of Huddy, Huddy's the only guy that was really hitting the cushion as hard as RTJ. The difference was RTJ wasn't making the big mistakes. Huddy was jumping the cushion, and he was just not as smooth on it. RTJ, it's like he's a man on a mission right now, and definitely was the class of the show. The best car won in that one, and that Falls draw, you mentioned it. I mean, they gave $100,000 away to fans, $50,000 to the winner, and then they paid back 8 spots. I mean, that I can't even imagine, right? We're hoping, but I can't even imagine the guy that was matched up with RTJ, the range of emotions, right? Imagine he takes the lead and you're like, oh my God, we're gonna win this 50 grand. Then he gets put back 6 spots, and you're like, what the hell just happened? And then he takes the lead again. The emotions that group, or if it was one individual or a group had, that I guarantee they're going to be coming back to Fairbury for the Prairie Dirt Classic for years to come. And I talked to my daughter. I was actually able to, my girlfriend, who's not been to many races, she had a blast. She thought it was great. My daughter came there with a couple of her friends. They absolutely loved it. So there's 5 of us for sure right there that will be back at the Prairie Dirt Classic. Hats off to the whole crew down there. I mean, it was just an epic experience, and something I'm glad. Oh, by the way, God also loves Fairbury. I'm just going to point that out because it downpoured. It looked like it was going to rain early on Friday night. It downpoured 5 minutes after the races. So he was clearly a spectator in this whole deal, too. I'm just saying. All right. So let's jump into the top 5 moments of the week, brought to you by Daytona 1 Performance Lubricants. Lots of different lubricants out there, lots of different uses. The main one we're going to talk about is tires, right? So Buck has formulated several great products. And this guy's smart. He's in the Hall of Fame with NASA for lubricants, but he has a tire cleaner out there called Aqua. And then they have 3 different blends of tire treatment, not tire softener, tire treatment. The purpose behind this is what? Save the racers money. Guys, I have talked to drivers that are using this product, super happy. A couple of them I talked to said we're getting about 2 more nights out of our tires, which they're tickled pink with. That's a big deal with the cost of racing today. And they said they noticed it on restarts, more consistent on restarts. So if you want more information on this product, call Chad at 507-828-3536. That's Daytona 1 Performance Lubricants. So, guys, number 5, let's head out west. Let's go to the Big Sky State, Big Sky Speedway, Billings, Montana. Rob Petroff, buddy of mine out there, cashing in the Jared Kronelka Memorial, the biggest, probably the second biggest street stock race of the year, I guess, maybe not counting the 100, $2,121 to win. That's a heck of a big payday out west. Kind of a guy that the last couple of years he's been struggling. Fast, but just everything that could go wrong, everything that could possibly go wrong has gone wrong for Petroff. So congratulations, Rob Petroff, on a great win out there in Montana, and keep that thing rolling, man. By the way, Zeuli under the hood on that one too. Figured I'd go ahead and point that out right there too. Number 4, street stock action. Kraus, you want to take this one? Justin Vogel back to back.
Yeah, I saw that. I seen obviously the tour was going on last week. They finally wrapped that thing up. Seems like that thing's been going on for a while. So, and Vogel was he's got that car working real well, and you know him. He's not going to leave anything out on the track. He goes out there. He's not afraid to shred some tin. I know me and him battled pretty hard that year. He won the title, but at the end of the day, we still talk about and had some fun. So super consistent right now too. I think that's a big thing with Justin. He gets his wins, but then every once in a while you see those DNFs and stuff in there. But now he's starting to finish more consistently up front. And that tour, I don't know if you saw those stats. I think Dirt Race Central put them out about the number of followers and the cars that followed that tour. The numbers are staggering in that street stock tour. So obviously a great job with Benji with putting that street stock tour together. And then, people consistently following that thing, Trainer and the Fankhausers. And it's crazy the Wisconsin guys that followed that. So awesome tour. Congrats to Vogel again on that title. He had earned that thing this year with the amount of cars that were in that thing, especially the quality. And there was, the 2 races we had at Viking, if you cracked the top 10, you were doing something special. So it's good to see him get some wins and win another tour title.
12 different winners in that series this year too, which is incredible. That just talks about the quality of racers. It wasn't just 2 or 3 or 4 drivers winning every single race. 12 different winners. That makes me look really forward to what's coming up. I guess if you're watching this morning, tonight, Tuesday night, the Little Green, that's going to be a dandy. So let's head up to the Great North up here. We'll head over to so Pat Capella threw some money at the late models here over this past weekend, KME, and he's put a ton of money into racing. So tip of the cap, Pat Capella, on all the money's pouring into the sport, right? So Friday night they had a $5,000 to win late model feature over at the Gondiklah Speedway in Superior. Saturday at the Hibbing Raceway in Hibbing. Sunday at the Helberline Speedway in Proctor. Kyle Peterlin, who won the Challenge Series race in Hibbing here about a week and a half ago, not only did he win, guys, he gave them kind of a whooping in Superior, drove by Pat Dorr and Daryl Nelson on a grippy racetrack. First win there since 2019, biggest win of his career. And, it's one thing to start up front and win. Hibbing, he started on the pole, track locked down, he won the race. He'd been the best car there anyway. Probably didn't matter if it locked down rubber or if it was good all the way to the top. That 23 has been very good. So a guy that, we ran against him a lot. We traveled together. Super cool seeing Kyle Peterlin with a great weekend. He's been very fast as of late. His 2 biggest paydays ever behind the wheel of a race car, back-to-back $5,000 wins. That's a tip of the cap. Bert, your Eastern boy kind of making a little statement over there in Western Wisconsin.
Yep, Nick Avalink took some more Western Wisconsin money back to Eastern Wisconsin. Won the $5,000 to win late model feature at Cedar Lake Speedway. His second win at Cedar Lake this year. The first one he won earlier this year, he started on the front row and won it. That wasn't the case in this one. He started, it was a few rows back, and third row. And he was actually running in 3rd place with 3 laps to go. But we've had this discussion on this show before. Does Nick like to run the high side? Well, he ran the high side at Cedar, and it netted him $5,000.
I thought he was going to tip over early in the race. He kind of...
I didn't see that. I only saw the last few laps of the race. I'll have to go back and watch that.
he bounced around pretty good. Melissa Blaylock, she said, "Hey, you got to check that out." I'm like, "Wow, yeah." I wasn't really sure. He was charging for sure, and to beat those two, I mean, there are lots of good drivers. Dorr was there, of course, and several others. But to pass your way up to a big win, that's a statement right there. Big weekend coming up at Cedar Lake. Was that C performance then for Anvilink?
What's that?
Was that a C performance or an A performance?
I will give that one an A. He's got to be feeling pretty confident coming into this upcoming weekend. He's got that car working really good, especially at Cedar Lake.
Well, I had somebody make the comment too, Bert. They're like, "Man, he comes over to Cedar Lake and wins. He ain't been winning as much at home. What's going on at home? What's the story there?"
Well, the last month or so, it's kind of there. It hasn't necessarily been racy tracks in eastern Wisconsin, and so I mean, they're definitely not three grooves like there was at Cedar Lake on Saturday night.
And he sucks at drawing over there too. Early in the year, I mean, a couple of them shows he's starting fifth, sixth row. That makes it a little tougher too. And then number one, guys, is there any doubt? I mean, the performance that Ricky Thornton Jr. put on at the Prairie Dirt Classic, I mean, that not only is that the clear number one of the week, but is it clear now that he's easily the clear number one late model driver in America right now?
Yeah, I definitely have to say he is. I think he pretty much shut everybody up, and especially at that stage and everybody there, and then beating the Illinois guys at their home track too, and beating Bobby Pierce there too. So, and then like you said, I mean, I told Dan Kalina, he's my co-host on the Dirt podcast. He was in my trailer. We were watching. I was like, he's going to win this thing. And Dan's like, no chance. 20 to go, starting sixth. I said, he's going to win this thing, going away. And he did. I mean, like you said, when he came out of 3 and 4 that one time, all four wheels are off the ground and he never lifted. And his car landed and he just shot right to the lead. So he definitely is. And it's going to be pretty excited to see him for another 50K this weekend.
Yeah, USA Nationals. We'll talk about that here shortly, Bert. Because are you going this year?
Yes, I am going to the USA Nationals. But I would just want to make a comment about RTJ. I mean, I agree. I think he's definitely the top driver, late model driver in the country right now, hands down. And I mean, it's just hard to believe that it was like around 5 years ago he was showing up at he was one of the top mod drivers in the country, but he showed up at 141 Speedway for the Clash at the Creek all by himself. No pit crew guys, nothing, just all by himself. And he won that race 3 years in a row. And now he's the best dirt late model driver in the country.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's kind of fun watching some of these guys' stories, and that's a pretty cool one right there. So let's jump into a little who's hot and who's not. Brought to you by Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating, right over in Ashland, Wisconsin. They're the trackside vendor up at the ABC Raceway, Gondiclaw Speedway, Halberlines Raceway, home of the Galloper chassis. They do custom powder coating, custom fab work. I mean, I tell you what, you're not going to meet a better group of people. Of course, the title sponsor of the Fastlane Northland Superstock Series. So check them out for all your racing needs, all your fabrication needs, powder coating, sandblasting, you name it. That's Fastlane Motorsports in Ashland, Wisconsin. So, guys, let's start with you, Bert. Who's hot?
Locally, I'll go with Nick Avalink. There wasn't a lot of racing here in eastern Wisconsin this last weekend, and he made the best of the situation and pocketed 5,000. So I'll go with him as the local driver.
All right. How about national? I mean, RTJ.
Well, I mean, obviously that's the low hanging fruit. So I'll leave that I'll leave that on the tree. I'll go with the driver that has been on our not hot list a lot this year and over the last couple of years. He's not racing the national tours right now, but he raced the Southern Nationals and won the championship. And I'm talking about Jimmy Owens. Maybe sometimes you have to take a step back and get your program going, and hopefully we'll see him back on the national tours.
Well, I was going to give you a donkey award because you said he's not running the Nationals tour. I'm like, it don't get much more Nationals. It's a Southern National. It's not the Southern Regionals. It's not the Southern Locals. No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, he went out and won that deal. I was kind of waiting for that, but you beat me to the punch on that one. So, all right, fair enough. So, yeah, Jimmy Owens, and he won down at Tri-County in Brasstown as well, and Dale McDowell won too this weekend down there. Also, Ricky Weiss ran down there. I think he was top 5 most nights. It'll be interesting if Ricky Weiss, Jimmy Owens, McDowell, if they come to the USA Nationals. That'll be interesting to see because they haven't been following a lot of national stuff. But, of course, Neil McDowell, right, has roots. I mean, he's married to one of the Cooks, or I guess Shane is married to one of the Cook's daughters. And then Ricky Weiss, I mean, he's a northern guy. Sounds like there's a little turmoil there with him and the old J.R. Haley deal. That might keep him away. So, and Jimmy Owens, I mean, he's been kind of a perennial guy coming up there. So, you think, what's your thoughts? Do you think those 3 guys will make the trip up this weekend?
Well, I checked their schedules, and McDowell did not have it on his schedule. I don't believe Owens had it on his schedule. And Ricky Weiss, I didn't check his schedule, but he was in the Fans Fund. So I don't know if he's being offered money to come up to the USA Nationals through the Fans Fund, and if he accepted that or not.
Krause, you heard anything?
No, I haven't. I was actually just going to shoot Ricky a text and see. Obviously, I know Ricky pretty well. Haven't heard if he's coming up. I know he likes getting up this way. Sells a lot of apparel when he gets this way too, because he's got a lot of fans up here too. So it'd be interesting to see. I'd love to see him show up. He's always fun to watch since he's kind of a WISSOTA guy that everybody wants to watch.
Yeah, 5-time national WISSOTA champion. So yeah, fire him over a text if you haven't done that. Speaking of that, while we're waiting for that reply, who's on your hot list right now?
Well, other than RTJ, how about Rodney Sanders weekend? First, I don't know what happened in Mississippi Thunder. Do you know how he DNF'd there? Do you know what happened there?
Don't.
So he won Fairmont and he won somewhere the next night, DNF'd, and he won in Cedar. So he won 3 out of 4 this weekend. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what happened in Mississippi Thunder. So obviously that 20 car has been rolling good this year. Locally, I want to throw a name at you here and know if you're going to get mad at me or not. Jordan Hinkemeyer. Okay. I don't know if you noticed, he's got a brand new car out as a super stock, and obviously he's the son of John. They own Affordable Chassis, and I know you ran the house car there for a while. I've been in Affordable for many years. He whipped that brand new car out night, and he got 3rd at Viking, and he actually got me at the line. I got taken out coming for the checkered and lost a spot, but he won Granite City, 2nd at KRA, 4th at Fiesta, wins at Madison, wins at Granite, and then he got 7th at Granite here. So Jordan Hinkemeyer, the brand new car, and listen, he runs against Nebraska, he runs against the 78K. Then obviously if he got beat by the Trevor Sauer and Matt Miller up at Viking, which happens to a lot of people. So I got to say one thing to Jordan: check your starter bolts, Jordan. You know how their maintenance program is over there at Affordable. So stay on top of your maintenance program, Jordan. He was pulling out one night for King of Dirt, and car wouldn't start. Well, the starter was hanging there by a thread, so we got her going. So that's my shout out for the local guy who's hot.
He is his dad's kid, right? He's talented behind the wheel, hell of a lot of fun to be around. I love Jordan. He's like, I've known him since he was little guy, right? And good race car driver, but their maintenance program is they do not excel. I actually won my first ever Jamestown Stock Car Stampede. I won a couple of them. The first time I won that deal, John Hinkemeyer's water pump fell right off the race car. He was leading. Probably had he was going to win. I think he had a straightaway. I inherited the lead on that one, took the win because of a lack of maintenance from the old Hinkemeyer camp. So, Jordan, don't be doing that. Work on that stuff. So, how about on the national level? You got anybody else?
What was that?
Anyone on the national level?
Well, I said Sanders and RTJ.
Oh, yeah, you did. That's right.
For the Who's
All right. So, I actually had Jimmy Owens on here, but Bert beat me to the punch. RTJ's low-lying fruit. So I'm going to go with a couple local guys. We already talked about Kyle Peterlin. Guys, he's won 4 of his last 6. 2 of them were for $5,000. One of them was a Challenge Series show. That's 3 big wins, right? And out of his last 6 races, Kyle Peterlin looking really strong. I'd love to see him go down to the USA Nationals. Probably will not. He'll probably be up in Hibbing this weekend. But Kyle's been running strong. He could be a threat come invite time in September. I'm looking forward to that. Another one here, speaking of street stocks, right? Keith Tourville, guys. 6 straight wins for the 111. He's a former winner of the Street Stock Little Dream. He's got 11 races and he's got 7 wins, 2 seconds, 2 DNFs. I'm telling you what, he may not be up there in the national standing. He don't race all that much. You best keep an eye on that kid right there. I guess tonight over at the Rice Lake Speedway. He's going to be an absolute contender for sure. How about not Bert? Not hot.
Oh, I'm not prepared for this one. Well, I'll start national, and we kind of talked about him. We've talked about him already too, but Chris Madden. It wasn't that long ago. He was leading the World of Outlaw Tour points. He fell to third this last weekend after Falls. Ryan Gustin got by him, and yeah, he's up there in the standings, but he just doesn't seem like a dominant driver like he has in the past. And granted, I don't think Falls is necessarily his type of track to race on. He likes those hard, slicked over tracks that they like to race on in the South. But so I'll go with Chris Madden.
He could be good. He's a sleeper at Cedar Lake. He could be.
Oh, he's won at Cedar Lake.
Yeah, he won that deal. You got anybody on the local scene?
Not off the top of my head.
Maybe the Shawano fan base or something.
Well, just the whole situation as a whole.
We'll save that for just a minute. Coach Kraus, not hot. What do you got?
You're on mute.
You're muted.
There, we're not off mute anymore. Brandon Overton. I mean,
yeah,
he had to hop in the Rumley car, kind of like what Shepard did. Shepard's got faster after that. So Mr. Overton just hasn't been very good. And he was super fast. Wasn't he not leading the heat, Fairbury? And then I think he broke. Or was he leading the feature that on Friday, correct?
Yeah, Friday, the prelim, the battery cable fell off, and then it wrecked the battery in the process.
So he must have had the John Hinkelmeyer must have been crewing for that car that weekend, right? Sorry, John. We got to give you a hard time.
Something to that.
Right. So yeah, we're not used to not seeing that 76 car up front. And another kind of national, kind of local guy, and I got to know him pretty well. I'm going to throw it up, Dan Ebert. I don't even think raced last weekend. Looking at some results here, and I know he ran that Mason City 3-day deal and 14th, 13th, and 20th. DNF 24th, 18th, and a 7th and a 6th at Ogilvie at the Mod Wars there. So, I don't know what's going on with that 60. I know he's in that Mullins. I know he got that rocking pretty good to start the year, but, just another, one of those Wasota guys that we like seeing run with those USMTS guys. And, he gets over here and gets some mod specials too. But just a couple, those are a couple of my not hot guys right now.
He was contending for the point lead early, right? I mean, he was contending, and he's kind of out of the picture right now. So, yeah, we'll see if they can turn that around. I had Overton on here as well. I mean, he didn't qualify for the Dream. He didn't qualify for the Prairie Dirt Classic. In the month of July, the entire month of July, how many podium finishes do you think Overton had in the whole month? One?
Yeah.
Prelim night at the Gopher 50. That was his only podium in the entire month. That's not the Brandon Overton that we're used to seeing, for sure. I have a couple local. Pat Dorr. Pat Dorr is as hot as he was to start the season. I mean, he's still Pat Dorr, just kind of cooled off, right? Nothing, not like a complete dumpster fire. He did have a horrible night in Hibbing for a couple weeks ago. But Pat Dorr, I mean, guys, it's not very often. You get a little grip on the Gondiclaw Speedway, and you put Pat Dorr out front, he don't lose. That's just not a thing. He's gone. Kyle Peterlin drove by him like he was broke. So Pat Dorr, something's not right with that 11. We'll see if he can figure it out. Big week for him this week. And then I'm going to keep this guy on there. You know, he's got 4 straight podiums, but he's still slow. Johnny Broking. Car doesn't even look good. Just struggle bus. And I've talked to him quite often, talked to him today, and he's like, I don't know, I've been talking to David, something ain't right. It just don't feel right. It don't look right on the track. So we'll see if Johnny Broking can find some speed here this week. So let's jump into a little fan feedback, boys. Buyraceshirts.com. If you need hats, shirts, t-shirts, jackets, hoodies, any kind of apparel, banners. If you need it for your race team, your race track, your series, your club, your business, whatever it is, go to buyracers.com for racers, by racers. So David had a question here. So up in Grand Forks, River City Speedway this past weekend, they had an NLRA late model event up there. Regular night for everything else, NLRA late models. And Mike Reseth, who's your back-to-back and, you know, looking to make it 3 in a row with the NLRA series, he won the feature. Second was Dustin Strand. Third was the 1 PPO of Tyler Peterson. Little bit of drama. Dustin Strand went to the scale and then went back to his trailer, did not go to tech, DQ'd at the scale. Now, guys, he would be leading. I believe it's 4,000 to win the track points up at the River City Speedway. He would be leading by 30, 40 points, somewhere in that neighborhood. He lost that lead, disappeared, vanished because he got disqualified. He got disqualified. He got last place is what he got because he didn't go to the scale or didn't go to the tech area. In the NLRA, he should be second and literally within striking distance of Gresseth. Now he's in third, over 100 points back. That's all but over. Lost his chance there. Guys, that's 3,000 win. That's a $7,000 swing. Okay. I've talked to some different people. I've read some things online, and one camp saying, well, he waved him across. And I talked to the track, right? And they're like, well, we waved him off the scale. We certainly didn't wave him out of tech, right? Kraus, you're a race car driver. You've been to tech once or twice. It's his home track. What is your theory on this whole debacle?
Listen, Dustin Strand not going to scale at River City Speedway is like Jeff Kraus not going to tech is like me not going to tech at Viking Speedway. I mean, serious. You come off that scale, I don't care if he waves you, points you, directs you, whatever. If you're in that top 5, pull over to the tech area. It's just what you do. Then I know there's something about it moved or this and that. I don't know. The other top 5, the other 4 guys seem to make it through tech fine. So no matter what, if you're a driver, okay, especially your home track, and even if it's your first time going to track, and I know you do this, Ryan, too, when you go to a new track, what's the first thing you do? Where's the scale? Where's the tech area? It's the first thing you do. And then the third thing you do is during hot laps, you see where the tractor tires are at so you don't rip your car off. That's just what you do as a driver. So you got to go to tech. Just take your car, go to tech. Make the tech guy say, you're good, go to your trailer. And as soon as you hear that, go to your trailer. You know what I mean? Make the official make the call. Don't let the driver, don't put it in the driver's hands. Don't drive to your trailer and say, oh, well, this guy said this. No. Make the tech guy tell you to your face and to the driver, you're good, you can go to your trailer.
Either one of you guys, when you were a kid, right, did you ever open the oven and be like, oh, cookies, and grab the hot cookie tray one time ever?
No.
Once. Maybe once, and then you never did again.
Because doing stupid shit's supposed to hurt, so you don't do it again, right? So skipping out on tech, that's stupid shit. I get it, right? I mean, he in his mind, he's like, well, I thought they waved me off, and that could be very well true, right? But my goodness, man, you've been racing a long, long time. It's not like he's a rookie. Go to tech. So racers, right? If you're listening to the show, if you're a racer, if you're in doubt, you go to tech and you verbally wait for somebody to actually come tell you that you can leave. Not a wave off, not a thumbs up. Like, no, I'm going to take my helmet off. Can I go? Yep, you're good to go. Perfect. That's it, right? If he'd done that, we wouldn't have this problem. That was a painful one. And I'm a Strand fan. I enjoy watching him race. He's a hell of a race car driver. Fun fact for you guys. I got my first ever super stock feature win, 1993, over at the home of the Chicken Shack, Bemidji Speedway. got it by default. I got second. The winner did not go to Tech. Do you know who the winner was? Brian Strand, Dustin's dad. Come on now. I mean, your dad won a couple natties, right? Hell of a race car driver. You don't have to copy everything he does. All right. So guys, go to Tech. So Joe had one here. Okay, that one, yeah, that's a different one. We already talked about the points mode for Pierce. Here's another one. Is RTJ, this one here is from Joe, is RTJ in their heads? So, Kraus, you've been racing for a long time. Psychologically, the speed that he's showing, are some of the top tier drivers, your Davenports, your Maddens, right? Are they kind of defeated before they even like unload their race car? Are they kind of in that mode right now, a few of these guys?
They are now. After going back and going by everybody like their park to win that race, it definitely is now. I think they were there a little bit before, but this just put the stamp on it. He's definitely in their head. And I know he's a Longhorn. I know he's got Bilsteins, but I think he's not the McCready, Davenport, Overton, those kind of Longhorn guys. I think he's a little bit kind of more, not on his own. I'm sure he's getting help. But he's not kind of part of that crowd. Does that make sense? So, he's definitely in their head, and especially after that performance the other night. And then, he's got their crew sprinting after his car, putting the cape up, covering up the back of his car instantly, which could be for show. Maybe they are hiding something. Who knows? But I definitely think right now he's definitely in their heads.
Bert, what do you think?
I mean, they definitely know he's there. And, when you go to a race and you unload your car, you know that he's going to be probably your toughest competitor that you're going to have to beat that weekend. So it's probably in their heads a little bit.
I was talking to Mike Gresseth, and he said, when you're searching, right, when you're struggling, you got a guy that's all of a sudden, bam, he's the mark. You're used to being the guy, right? You take a guy like Jonathan Davenport, $2 million man last year. He was the guy. He unloaded, he won, period, right? Now RTJ's a couple tenths faster than him every night. Well, guess what? You lose 2 tenths before you gain it, right? So if you're already 2 tenths back, now you're searching going, what the hell are they doing? Where did our speed go? You lose another 2 tenths. Now you're almost a half a second off the pace before you start finding some more speed to catch up to them. So I tell you what, big advantage right now for RTJ.
And speaking of Davenport, he's said this in several interviews that the stuff that they did last year just isn't working this year for some reason. And, when that happens, because you, as a driver, you always go back to your notes and your setups and, okay, this is what we did and we had success. But when you go back to your notes and use a successful setup and it doesn't work, then you're really starting to think about things, and it really gets into your mind.
For sure. It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, a couple of years ago, right, it was Shep, and then it was Overton, right? Owens had that big year where he won everything in Lucas, and last year you had JD, and now RTJ's the mark. It's just, we haven't seen anybody be the guy in back-to-back years for a few years now. It's been somebody new, so that's kind of fun too. And we got one kind of more on the low. What the hell's in the water over there in eastern Wisconsin?
It's a mess.
What's going on? Everybody in. What's going on over there?
I mean, I'll fill people in with what I know. I'm not going to get into the he said, she said that's being thrown around on Facebook. It's like, honestly, it's like there's two factions facing off against each other on Facebook, and it's just not good. But basically, we've talked about Mike's video. He's let us use his video. He videotapes at several of the racetracks in eastern Wisconsin, weekly at Shawano Speedway. He's been recording the races at Shawano Speedway over 10 years, I would say. And the last few weeks, well, he started doing this drive-in video. Well, ride-in video. He would ride his bike he lives in the city of Shawano. So he would ride his bike to the racetrack. Then he'd ride around the track on Monday morning, talk about the previous Saturday night's events. In the last few weeks, he's been critical of the Speedway on some things. And when he did a video a week ago, we're recording this Monday. He did a video a week ago today, and was critical of the Speedway and basically said that Shawano Speedway screwed over Johnny Whitman with the scale incident. And you know, I watched the video. Some of the things, I mean, to me, it wasn't a totally accurate portrayal of what actually happened that night. And as I explained on last week's show, you know, there was that video circulating of the late model tech inspector not actually weighing the cars, just waving the cars through on the scale. And, you know, Mike's video talked about that, but then he talked about Whitman, but he didn't necessarily differentiate between the two. So, you know, people can kind of think that, oh, well, that's, you know, oh, they just waved them through. How can he be DQ'd if they're not even weighing the cars? When that video had nothing to do with what happened with the Whitman deal. But anyway, so then on Friday night, because he went to Anigo and he recorded the race, the 4 heat races that they got in before the monsoon showed up. And then he got home, and as this is what Mike from Mike's video said in a video that he posted today. There was a certified letter waiting for him from Shawano Speedway, and in the letter, Shawano was a check for $300 because Shawano Speedway was revoking Mike's membership to the Shawano Egg Association, which actually oversees the race board, which oversees the racetrack. So they took his membership away, and I thought, whoa, okay. And then they told him that they didn't want him at the track. They didn't want him recording the races, doing the video for the races anymore. And thought, okay. And then, I mean, and when I heard this, I mean, to me, this is very, very excessive. They actually banned him from the Speedway. I mean, he can't go to the races. To me, that's very excessive. To me, it just made a bad situation worse. And as soon as I read that, I thought this is just going to be a PR nightmare. Well, that's what it turned into on Facebook.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, and there's like all kinds of he said this, she said that, and allegations, and it's just back and forth craziness. Yep. And you know, the one thing I got out of this is I don't race anymore. I can kind of come on, I can say whatever I want, right? Like it, don't matter. I ain't got nothing to lose. Don't matter, right? But you can see why some of these different streaming platforms, right? Like Flow Racing, Dirt Race Central, you know, they're going to kind of shy away from opinions and stuff like that because Mike didn't even get paid. Mike does that kind of like out of the goodness of his heart, posts the videos.
Well,
right. Doesn't get paid. And
he didn't get paid. Shawano Speedway let him in, gave him a free pit pass every week and a meal ticket, so you know he could get food at the racetrack. But yes, he was not paid. I mean, he put in way more work than what a pit pass and a meal ticket is worth.
Yeah, far less than a streaming platform gets. Right, streaming races where they're making hundreds to thousands of dollars per event. I can see why they shy away because they're like, hey, we're going to come in, we're going to shoot the video, and that's what we do. We don't want no part in any of this other stuff because we're in a world today. The world we live in today is if you give your opinion, right, wrong, or indifferent, somebody's feelings going to get hurt all the time. And their feelings get hurt. Now we're in cancel culture, and they're like, oh, man, we didn't like what he had to say. You're banned forever. That's the world we live in. It's ridiculous. It's not just Shawano. It's not just there. It happens in a lot of different things. And you look at a country music star or something on CMT, right? He's I don't remember. Not a country guy, but Kraus probably knows what I'm talking about. What's that song? Don't try this in a town, right?
Jason Aldean, try that in a small town.
Yeah, there you go. You know, and he's getting canceled for something that isn't even offensive to most people. But so I mean, that's the world we live in. So if you're willing to share your opinion, right, which I'm perfectly cool with, obviously, right, I'm perfectly good with that. Be willing to pay the consequences, right? And evidently some feelings got hurt in that deal, and it's a bummer because I enjoyed watching Mike's videos. I really liked it. I get an opportunity to watch him race.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that actual videos of the races, I mean, I think that's good PR for the track. But I guess the Egg Association felt that his Monday morning videos were going a little bit too far, and if you're letting somebody into the track free and stuff, like I said, I mean, I don't think he should have been banned from the racetrack. I mean, that's a little excessive, but and like I said, there's just a nuclear war going on Facebook, and I've read some stuff and I've wanted to reply, and I just tell myself, don't get involved. Don't get involved.
Hey, Kraus, here's something I was thinking on this whole deal, right? Aaron Rodgers is out. Now they got Jordan Love. If they're this worked up and butthurt and it's all mayhem and it's Wisconsin already, wait till football season starts. It's gonna be a bad deal over there, Bert. We're gonna be praying for your safety is what we're gonna be praying. So weekly pick'ems brought to you by Impact Health Sharing. That time of year we're getting kind of on the edge of open enrollment. So if you're self-employed, if you have employees, if you pay for your own health insurance, if you feel like you're paying too much, I might be able to help you out. I got a product called Impact Health Sharing, and you can get a hold of me, 218-969-1380. I can get you a no-obligation quote. I can get you the information that you need to make a decision to see if it's something that can help you, your family, your employee, and your business. So, last week's scores, Bert. Myself, Carl, Jeff had the high score. We had 7 points last week. You and Dan both had 6. Mike and Brad had 5. Kent, just a deuce. And our point leader jumped the cushion, smacked the fence, ripped the rear end off of it. 0 points for Curtis. Thank you, Curtis, for letting us catch up a little bit there. Last week's shows that we picked, the XR Super Series had a race at off-road. Guys, it feels like 3 months ago. I literally do not remember who won that race. Who won that? Was it RTJ?
Yeah, it was RTJ.
Did he got by Pierce there too, didn't he?
Didn't he have some sort of altercation with Huddy? Or was it Pierce? Maybe it was Pierce.
Yeah, I don't remember. RTJ, I believe, won it. So then high limits at Grandview. Pretty much all of us picked Kyle Larson, and Rico Abreu showed him how that was done. World of Outlaw Sprints at Weedsport. David Gravel won. One night rained out. Hashtag Falls. We talked about that. Mike Harrison, RTJ, your winners there. Dirt Kings, rained out both of them. Peterlin, and Mike Belfi. By the way, 2 super stock drivers getting all 3 wins in the late model division for them 5,000 win races. And Nick Anvilink at Cedar Lake. Them are the races that we picked last week. Our current standings, Bert, is tight. It is tight. Curtis, Mike, and Bert tied at 109. Brad, 1 point back at 108. Then you go back a little bit. You got Dan at 97. You got the 71A here at 89. Kent and Jeff at 88, and not so hot Carl at 81. This week, guys, we're picking the World of Outlaw late models tomorrow night. I guess it'd be tonight. We're doing the show Monday. Should be seeing us Tuesday at Moon. USA Nationals, all 3 nights of the local late models and the World of Outlaws. I-55 apparel World of Outlaw sprint races. 3 USMTS mod races. The Capitani Classic at Knoxville Sunday, which is kind of the leading into the 410 version of the Knoxville Nationals. And the Street Stock Little Dream at the Rice Lake Speedway. I guess that would be tonight as well. The biggest payday to the winner out of all motor races, right, is the Street Stocks at Rice Lake. So the last lap brought to you by Dirt Track Supply. So over the Aero chassis, if you need tires, safety equipment, fab work done, racing advice, whatever it may be. Ron and Trevor at Dirt Track Supply in Watertown do an awesome job. Great ambassadors to the sport. Saw a little something there. Trevor said he might be taking a little time off. Kind of, he won the championship last year in the Tri-State Series on the struggle bus this year. So he's going to take a little bit of a hiatus. We'll see if he can come back stronger. And but give them guys a call, Dirt Track Supply. So let's go back over your direction there, Crow. I-94 Sure Step Speedway. They had a memorial race this past Friday night, didn't they? Did you get a chance to watch that?
I did. It was the Bob Gerke memorial race at EMR Speedway. I got to correct you there. It's EMR Speedway now there, Mr. One to Go guy. But yeah, they did. Looks like a decent, I think there was about 30 some mods. I know they started 26 mods. It was 2,600 to 26 to win. And it was pretty much Don Eichen's all the way. I mean, he was really, really fast. Track had some grip to it, had some character to it, and there was no stopping. He was going to win that race. There were some pretty good battles, back of the pack. I think Josh Tennis ended up second or third, was hanging right there. But Eichen's, he pretty much, the 9E pretty much dominated that race.
Yeah, another super stock guy right there. We kind of had a few battles with the old Dandy Don there, but he's always been a good racer, so congrats to Eichen. One of the better races that I watched all weekend, and thanks to Dan and Jim for sending this over so I could see it, the mod feature at Rice Lake was really, really good. Great battle between a pair of veterans, Mike Anderson and Kevin Buzzy Adams, and swapping the lead there. Mike Anderson putting the SSR in victory lane over there. Jump on to Dirt Race Central, and you can actually watch both of those races amongst many others on Dirt Race Central. Speaking of Rice Lake, guys, it's Little Dream Time. I'm jacked, right? I mean, Bert's over there going, what do you mean? It's USA Nationals week. No, Bert.
Hey, a couple of weeks ago, I actually looked at the schedule to see when the Little Dream was, because it's like, I'd like to see that race someday. But then I saw it was USA Nationals week, and I'm on full throttle deadline this week, so I have to get full throttle done before I leave for the USA Nationals. So there's no way I could go this year.
And last year it was over 26,000 to win. I don't remember the exact number. Nick Trainer, who actually ran quite a bit of the series this year, won 2 of the last 3. I tell you what, I mean, this is an awesome event. The fans, if you're unfamiliar with it, right? So FYE, they kind of have a deal where fans can keep adding to the purse. I think Jeff, does this start out like at 1,000 to win? I think it starts out at something like that.
I think it might even, I think it's like 800 or 1,000 or something like that. It's crazy. And like I said, I was fortunate enough to be part of it there for 2 years. I actually just pulled up my results. It's 2017, I got 19th. And then 2018, I got 8th. I started 22nd and got 8th, but I got the hard charger. But like you said, it's an awesome event. And it's one of those events you have to go to. The crowd, it's packed. Just listening to Chris does such a great job of promoting that and getting money and people to throw it in. And like you said, you get all the streeters there. And I love the format. I love the 2 heat race format that they do there. And I think, is it just street stocks again this year? I know they tried the Midwest mods in there, but I think they're just mainly doing street stocks this year. So like I said, it's an awesome event to be a part of. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of it a couple of years. But boy, I tell you what, you come 4 wide for that at the start of that street stock race there. I mean, I've been racing for a long time, and you get shivers and you get nervous. And Chris does a little pump up job on the radio there to all the drivers, and it's a pretty cool deal. And it's a super, super fun event.
Yeah, it's a huge payday. Nick Trainer winning 2 of the last 3. If you have a prediction in your bold predictions, say things going to win this deal, and maybe a dark horse. Or are you doing it on the bold predictions?
No, I'm not. I have a couple other different bold predictions with what's going to go down there, but I'm hoping a Minnesota guy wins it this year. I don't know what Timmy's got up his sleeve. I haven't heard what he's doing, if he's going to break out the 69 car or what he's going to do there. But I tell you what, Mr. Vogel, you're the tour champion right now. You better go out to Rice Lake and take care of business. I'm pretty sure he's never won that race. I know he'd like to. I think he'd like to knock that off his deal. And Dark Horse, I don't really know many of the street stock guys, but there's so many good guys out there. It's tough to pick a dark horse.
Bert, you got anybody? Are you saving that, or do you got somebody in mind?
I'm not saving it. I actually picked Vogel to win the race. So hopefully he adds that to his list.
So Vogel, if you don't win, Bert jinxed you. I'm just saying, BERT layman. All right.
Well, I was gonna say this earlier. Did you see Derek Vessel apologized to me on Facebook on that one post?
I did. He said he'll do better, and
then I picked him, and he didn't get me a point.
It wasn't, Hibbing can have a pretty good racetrack, but it was not good on Saturday. He latched up, and and that's nothing against Kyle because he's been really freaking good, but the track was not real racy. And I'm gonna save mine for the bold predictions because I do have a bold prediction on that. USA Nationals week. All right, this is a true crown jewel, Prairie Dirt Classic, crown jewel. When you think USA Nationals, either one of you can go first. What comes to mind? What's the first thing that comes to mind when USA Nationals are brought up?
Well, I've never been there for the USA Nationals. I know half the town over here at Viking Speedway, and I know a lot of the fans go over there. Big thing to me, I think it's just the camping and the partying that goes on in the background. Obviously the racing's obviously good, and I did get clarification right now. Ricky Weiss will be there. He did send me back a message, so make sure let's cheer on Ricky. Go buy some apparel and support Ricky Weiss. He's a good guy, so he will be there. So that's pretty awesome. But I just think that the camping. I've already been, Dan and myself have been invited to a party from the Dirt Podcast to go drink some moonshine. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to go racing. But I just think, the camping and the partying and the hanging out and the fans, the big thing is if you do go there, you're probably going to know the majority of the people that are there. So I think that's a pretty cool. Like you said, the area, it's open. You talk about Fairbury being a little bit enclosed. Cedar Lake's it's out in the middle of nowhere. We all know that. I think it could be a fun time and go have some fun and hang out with your friends.
Bert?
Probably one of the things you think of right away is the driver intros for the feature. You talked about this earlier in the show. You can't just rely on the racing. You have to make the whole event entertaining. And, the intros are always cool. It's always kind of cool to see if the drivers do anything special. 1 year Superman, they had a big cape attached to the top of his car. 1 year, I think Davenport was on top of the car and somebody else drove the car onto the track or something like that. So, some of the drivers do special things. So probably, and then Cedar Lake Speedway, they always give something out to light up that fans can hold, that flash and for the driver intros. And it's just a cool aspect of the event.
Yeah, Hot Carl rode out with Turbo the year that Turbo got booted for a year. So Hot Carl, don't be getting nobody else get kicked out this weekend. Don't be doing that shit, all right? You get yourself a Bud Light and relax a little bit. So,
then, of course, for me, I get to see Puka. It's the one time out of the year I get to see Puka. So,
right. It depends where I'm trucking, right? I'm actually heading down to Arkansas right now, then Indiana. If I'm rolling either through on the way, I may make an appearance there on one of the days if it works out. Hopefully it does. But that's our crown jewel, right? When I look at it, I look at Cedar Lake. They're WISSOTA again with super stocks, but for years they weren't WISSOTA. That's our crown jewel for the upper Midwest. So I know I'm not a Cedar Lake regular. I raced quite a few races there, but it just feels like that's our race. If you're in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and you're in our area, that's our big event of the year. That's our World 100. That's our dream. That's our Prairie Dirt Classic. So, the culture, the community, all that stuff that goes along with it. It's an epic event and always some really good racing there. And I'm excited. Nothing against the limited late models, USRA late models. I am excited that there's 3 nights, though, of the Cedar Lake late models. I'm pretty excited about that. So Superior, Wisconsin, guys, they're running 4 nights in the next 6. 4 of the next 6 nights. They race Tuesday night. They got lates and mods and I think Pures and Hornets, and then they race Friday. So they got 2 days for the fair. And then Sunday, this coming Sunday, so the day after the USA Nationals is the makeup day, right, for the Twin 25s Challenge Series show. And then Monday is the XR Super Series Superior Showcase. So that's a lot of racing, right? That's a lot for the fans. That's a big demand. The track has been really good in Superior. Like, that's the best I've seen it in a while. It's been really good. But 4 nights of racing out of 6, that's a tall task. I mean, Jeff, your dad did racetracks for a long time. How much strain does that put on the track prep crew to get it right when you're racing 4 out of 6 nights?
Well, it puts a lot, especially with the way the weather's been now. You're not getting any help from Mother Nature. And the one big thing, you didn't say there, it's super hard on employees. It's like your beer garden people, your ticket takers, obviously you're running the track over here in Viking. We do double headers, and that's the one thing. It's getting them to show up, getting to be there all the time. It's super duper hard on employees. And like you said, especially with the track people, with the grader and the water, and like I said, not getting any help with Mother Nature. Then when you are working on the track, races are getting over at 10, 11 midnight. You're working on the track sometimes till 2, 3 in the morning. Then you're getting up at 6 or 7 and getting after it. So the big thing is it's super, super tough on employees to run that many nights in that short a time.
Absolutely. Another thing coming up at the Gondikla Speedway, mark your calendars, a really cool event. And this kind of hits home because we've had a lot happen here in the last year in the racing community. The 5th annual Suicide Prevention and Awareness Night over at the Gondikla Speedway. It's a special for the cure, 600 to win, 100 to start. That's going to be Friday, August 11th. And, we think about several of the people in the racing community that took their own lives over the last year, and on the national scene, on the local scene. So this one hits home. This is a really cool event put on by a group of people over at the Gondikla Speedway. So I wanted to give a shout out to them as well. And then a Rebel Midwest Mod Tour. We talked about the Street Stock Tour, the Rebel Midwest Mod Tour, kind of the sister series to the Street Stock Tour. Cheyenne, Brown County, Jamestown, and Casino, 4 nights of racing. All of them will be on Dirt Race Central. So if you're going to be over at the USA Nationals, turn on Dirt Race Central. Watch these races too, and you'll be able to do that. So any other shout-outs that you guys want to give, anybody that sticks out in your mind that, hey, this person needs a shout-out, anything that you see in a points battle, anything that maybe we missed that you want to just kind of give a little attention to?
Yeah, I have one. This Saturday night at Shawano Speedway, they're going to be recognizing Scott Weisnick. Scott Weisnick, he raced at Shawano Speedway back in the 80s. He currently operates one of the records at the racetrack. He was instrumental in running the spectator eliminator races that Shawano Speedway had in the past. Shawano stopped doing the spectator eliminators because of liability issues, but they're bringing them back for this Saturday night because of Scott Weisnick. He's battling cancer right now, so they want to put on a good week of racing for him, and they're hoping that some of the former Street Eliminator drivers will come out and race it in the Street Eliminator portion. And this is one thing, because we talked about what's going on at Shawano Speedway earlier in the show. Some drivers and fans have talked about doing protests and stuff. And Mike from Mike's video said, please don't do that this Saturday. I'm good friends with Scott Weisnick, and I want this to be a special night for him. So hopefully that takes place Saturday.
That's one thing, guys, with the racing community. When there's anything like that, you can be not getting along with a person, but when something happens to a member of the racing community, I've never seen a group of people come together the way the racing family does, and it just kind of makes us proud to be part of that for sure. Kraus, anything else that you want to touch on there?
Just our annual kids night at Viking Speedway. You got to get the youth involved in this sport. You want to keep this sport growing, you got to get the youth involved. We're going to get the cars behind the grandstand from 5 to 6:30. Give out some cards. Then we got a couple bikes. We got Erickson Plumbing and Heating donated a dirt bike we're going to be giving away. And then we're going to have a bunch of gift cards that we're going to be giving away too. And very successful last year. Like I said, we got to get our youth involved in this sport. And once you get them to the track, hopefully they keep coming back. And then the flip side, you never know, they might buy a car or buy a short track or buy a Hornet, and before you know it, they're in a modified or a super stock. So you got to make sure you get the kids involved in this sport.
And speaking of that, right, another shout out to XR for their all XR events, 17 and under free to all XR events. The youth to the racetrack, get them hooked, get them involved so we can grow this sport. So that's pretty cool. And the last thing I'm going to shout out here, just a little bit of a recap, not a full points deal, but national points for WISSOTA, right? Late models, it really comes down to this, right? Wins. You got to win races. And right now, I'm just going to go off the top couple drivers on win count. WISSOTA late models, rookie Tyler Peterson leading the way with 11 wins. Now, remember, they only take the best 20 shows in late models. He's over halfway there. 11 wins for him, 9 for Becker, 8 for Kevin Burdick. Them are the top 3. In the modifieds, Shane Zabrowski is running away with this thing. He's got 16 wins. Tyler Peterson and Johnny Broking have 9. So big lead there for Zabrowski. In the super stocks, Dexton Cook at 19. Zabrowski, Trevor Nelson, both at 16. Tristan LaBarge at 11. Jeff Kraus at 2. So you got a little work to do. All right. Midwest Mods, Zach Benson's at 15. But here's a guy that I don't know much about. Jaron Wibstad has caught my attention. He's won some races. He won a Rebel race, at least one of them, winning some races out west. He's the second highest win count at 8. So it used to be Rodine and company. Jaron Wibstad having a very, very good year. Street stocks, this one's going to be interesting as well. Braden Brower, 17 wins, 13 seconds. You take your top 30 shows, he's got 30 top 2s. He's off to a good start. Tucker Peterson, 15 wins. Maria Brooksick at 13. And then you have Colton Brower, Justin Vogel at 11. In the Mod 4s, we talked about this. Dynamite Dean, right? We got the Silver Bullet, Dean Larson, 25 wins. Bert, they only take your best 20 shows. He's got 25 wins. All right. So car count's a thing. You got the TB81 of Tommy Bowden and the reigning champ Dustin Holquist at 11. They can still get to 20. This can still be a race. Here stocks, Travis Hazelton, Josh Berg, both at 10. In the Hornet division, guys, this might be the best battle yet. Carter Matthews at 16, Justin Barsness at 11, and then you have Justin Schalitsky and Adam Vandersteen both at 10. So the points battle's kind of keeping up. I'm keeping track of wins because first and second place, if you want to win a national championship, you're chucking anything beyond a second. So that's where we're at there. So let's jump into our last segment of the show, guys. 3 bold predictions. And what we do every week is we make 3 predictions. They either did happen, did not happen. It's not an opinion. And we're keeping track of when we're right, when we're wrong. Off the board this past week, Bert, you said 2 Illinois drivers, late model drivers, we're going to finish on the podium. I think we had 1 Illinois, 1 Indiana, and 1 Iowa. So that was incorrect. You jinxed Derek Vessel, said he was going to win. He did not. And you said Nick Anvilink was going to be on the podium at the 5K at Cedar Lake. And that worked out pretty well because Mother Nature cooperated. He might have been at the Dirt King. It worked out for you for points, and it worked out really well for him cashing in on $5,000. So last I checked, his win is on the podium. I had 5 come off the board this week. I said the Prairie Dirt Classic was going to have the under as far as car counts. 81 last year, 63 this year for late models. Still a hell of a show. I mean, it didn't change a thing. It was still great, but they were 18 car counts less. Guys, was that a surprise?
Yeah, was it 18, about 20, 18, something less? No Davenport, no McCready. There's a couple big namers not there for 50 grand.
Moran. So Moran, McCready, and Davenport are all former winners of the Prairie Dog Classic and weren't there.
Yeah, it was. You know the worst part about that is it's horrible for the fans because the fans want to see those guys there, especially at a crown jewel. Get there for the fans. If you don't want to, JD, you don't want to put a dent in your car. Well, tough luck. Get there for the fans. Sell some T-shirts. Give someone else a dent for once. You know what I mean? So that's the big thing. That's the only people you're hurting there is the fans.
Well, and it just seems like McCready doesn't race anything unless it's a Lucas race.
Totally agree.
He just takes time off if it's not a Lucas race.
Yeah, which is a bummer, because he can be fast anywhere, and it's a different format this year, right? I mean, he's kind of on the outside looking in the points deal. You got to be in the top 4, and that's his goal: get in the top 4, be in the hunt for Lucas at the end. I said Pat Nord, Jake Radetsky, and Daryl Nelson would all be on the podium. Yeah, that did not happen. Daryl Nelson was; the other two were not. I said that the thrill from Mooresville, Nick Hoffman, was going to lead the World of Outlaw points at some point in the month of July. I might have jinxed him. That didn't quite work out. I said Donnie Schatz would have 3 or less top 5 finishes in the month of July. He had 3. So I hit that one very good. And right away in the month, beginning of the month, he got 3 right away. And I'm like, oh boy, we're in trouble. And then he didn't get any more after that. So that was a yes. And I said Bobby Pierce would win 2 of the 3 between the USA Nationals, Prairie Dirt Classic, and Huset's. And he got second at both of them. I should have went with podium, not with win. Listeners, Eric said Peterlin and Burdick would each win a 5K. Boy, if he would have said there would have been 2 wins between them, that would have been a win. But Peterlin won 2, Burdick won 0. And he also said, somebody said Jacob Allen, one of the listeners said, Jacob Allen will not be back in a sprint car until after 2023. Well, he was back at the World of Outlaw show last night. So that little time off was short-lived. So, guys, there's a new sheriff in town. I am at 40%, and Bert is at 39.8. Come on, let's go. All right, Bert. She's on now, buddy. The listeners, 40%, they got some work to do. So let's get her here for this weekend. I got 3. Jeff sent me 1. Coach Kraus has 1. Coach has 3. Bert has 3. This week's predictions. Who wants to start? Kraus, let's go with you. What do you got?
Well, I got to stick to my guns. We're going on another first-time street stock winner at Viking Speedway. It's been 3 weeks in a row. We're going to make it 4 weeks in a row for a first-time winner at Viking Speedway in the street stocks.
Wow. Okay. Bert?
I will go with Nick Avalink will win at least one of the 3 local features at Cedar Lake Speedway this weekend.
Nick Avalink will win at least one of 3. Okay. So Jeff gave me a pick and Superior Showcase. So you got the USA Nationals at Cedar Lake. Sunday you got the Twin 25s at the Gondikla Speedway. Monday, 20,000 to win Superior Showcase. Tuesday, of course, is XR Working Man at Menominee. He said there will be 35 or more participants in the late model class at Superior at that Monday show, meaning that it could be a bunch of open cars and there's going to be some Wissota cars sticking around from the Twin 25s. So he said 35 or more participants in the late model. I'm going to go local. This guy's kind of been in a slump. Probably should have put him on the not hot list. I still can. He is officially on the not hot list. I think he forgot how to win, maybe because I'm not there. We're going to find out. Dave Dalsiak, couple seconds in a row. Not running bad, but he's kind of a sore loser. Reminds me of me. All right. That's probably why I like him. He's going to park it in Victory Lane this weekend, as long as the weather holds out. Okay. Barring rainos. If they race this weekend at Sycamore, Dave Dalsiak will park the 83 in Victory Lane. Kraus.
We're going to go 65 plus super stocks at the Little Dream Race. Last few years has been 52, 53. I'm going 65 plus.
Okay. I want to make sure I read this right. 65 or more super stocks at the Little Dream.
Street stocks. I'm a super
right.
stock guy. Sorry, I got to say. Sorry,
You said super stocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to let you slide on that one and then just hammer you if they hit 70 and be like, yeah, baby, no super stocks. Okay, 65 or more street stocks.
If there was 65 super stocks at Rice Lake, oh boy, there'd be get a body brace kit for the next day.
Well, you remember the Little Dream a couple of years ago, right? When they were all ganging up on Parker Anderson and using him as target practice out there. That was like a freaking battle royal. So I tell you what, that's must see TV for sure. So 65 or more. Bert, your turn.
Bobby Pierce will win at least one of the World of Outlaw features, but not the big one.
Okay, so he'll win either. Okay, one of the prelims. Okay. I am going to go Little Dream as well. Nick Trainer, Kyle Jeanette, Keith Tourville, Braden Brower. At least two of those drivers will be on the podium at the Little Dream this, I guess, Tuesday night. Trainer, Jeanette, Tourville, Braden Brower. At least two of those drivers on the podium at Rice Lake. Kraus?
Well, we're gonna cause some controversy here because I just need some controversy. It's the USA Nationals, right? Saturday night in the 50,000 show, someone's taking out 20 RT, and they're taking him out, and he's going to be a DNF.
Oh, all right. Now, I got to be completely honest with you, Bert. I mean, we've witnessed this. He's been texting Ricky Weiss. Does he have some inside information here that we don't know about? I'm just saying. So, if Ricky takes him out, Kraus knew about this. He's in on it. All right. There's your controversy. Bert, what do you got?
I'm going to go Shawano Speedway will have at least 25 street eliminator cars competing on Scott Wisnick night.
Okay.
That includes the two divisions that they split them up into, both combined. 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, and then 8-cylinder.
Okay. So my third and final pick is going to be for the Wissota National Championship Battle Race in the Wissota Hornets. All right, not late models, not mods, not even street stocks. Hornets. They take top 20 shows. At the end of the 2023 Wissota point season, there will be at least 4 Hornets with a minimum of 20 feature wins each, and it'll be the tightest battle in the Wissota points in 2023. So there you have it, Bert. When are you heading to Cedar Lake?
Thursday morning, we're going to head out. So looking forward to it. This is sad to say, but I'm looking forward to getting out of Eastern Wisconsin for a weekend and going to a different racetrack.
So last year, Pat Dorr came from 17th to win on night number 2?
In the local version.
And Bert, in the local version, didn't you go home? You missed that, didn't you?
We went home on Saturday because the rain forecast was like 100%. And I know.
So Kraus, me and Bert are going to the Packer Viking game at Lambeau. Do you suppose I'm going to have to navigate myself out when the Vikings got a 2-touchdown lead? Is it going to leave at intermission or what?
Well, he's going to have to after attempting to watch Jordan Love to play football.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I'm not too high on the Vikings. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but Bert. You gotta see it through. See it through this
I,
week.
I
See
will.
it
I
through.
will. I will see it through this year.
Kraus, you're racing Jess Viking this week?
Yeah, I think that's plan as of right now. I'll watch some stuff on TV and then probably just race Viking. I don't know. I'm kind of getting the itch now. I'm getting somewhat quicker. I might, I always like supporting KRA and I-94, Fiesta City. I like supporting these tracks. I did it for years, and just with the cost of things right now and running around the state with my daughter with softball and all that's over, maybe I might make an appearance and maybe might see the 29 star car float around one of these places one of these nights.
Well, there you go. Get her done. That's going to be a hell of a weekend. I picked who's going to be on the podium. My pick, incidentally, Keith Tourville. I tell you, he's been really, really good. There's legitimately going to be 20 or more street stocks that could win that race in Rice Lake. Super excited to see that. FYE.TV. I tell you, that's the best event that I can think of in Wissota racing. So you don't want to miss that one. But guys, always a pleasure talking racing. I got to get back on the road. I still have some work to do on my birthday, kind of working a little bit late. So Bert, maybe, can't promise you anything, but maybe I'll see you Thursday or Friday, probably not Saturday. We'll go down and help the 83. He's kind of begging me to come back, so I got to get down there and help my boys and get them back in Victory Lane. And good to see that 29 star with the One to Go Show logo on the side in Victory Lane. Get yourself another one and support our great sponsors. Without them, we couldn't continue to sit and ramble and talk racing every week and talk smack, but always fun. You guys have a good weekend. Have a good week. And thanks for tuning in to the One to Go Show.